Hey everyone, Alex Wilson. Welcome to today's weekly chat. And today I tell you why owning a condo is a basic human need, right up there with food, water, and shelter. Watch it now. See you soon. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's weekly chat. I'm Alex Wilson, team lead of alexjwilson.com, and of course we have Kyle DeVici, Director of Operations for Remax Wealth Builders Real Estate. So on today's weekly chat, I'm kind of throwing a curveball at Kyle. So I'm going to ask the standard question. Kyle, what are we talking about today?
Not quite sure. What's on your mind?
So some people may think this video is going to be a little fluffy, but I want to get into the psychology of real estate and why people need it, and truly a need. So I wanted to get into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If anyone's taken Psychology 101 in university, they've heard of Maslow, and it's different levels of, as you progress, levels of satisfaction that you can get until you get to self-actualization and everything like that. I'm not going to get to that level. I just want to focus on the first level, which is the psychological needs of individuals. And that is, on the very first level, water, food, warmth, shelter. And what's shelter, Kyle?
Housing.
Shelter is housing. So literally on that first line, what all humans require for their basic needs is shelter, food, water, warmth. I was just down in Miami, and one of my wife's and I's favorite shows whenever we're down in the States and we watch cable TV, because we don't have cable TV here, is a show called Naked and Afraid. Google it. It's basically people get put into a wilderness environment, literally naked, and they have to survive for 21 days. It's basically like Survivor without any of the games. Literally, these people have to survive off the land with nothing. Literally, there's not clothes on their back because they're naked. So check it out. Check the Google videos. But when you go watch this video, what are they focused on? They need to find clean drinking water. They need to hunt or scavenge for food. And they need to build shelter. And they need warmth at night. The four things that they focus on. Again, shelter. So what does that mean? That means when I'm investing in these properties and buying these properties, I'm investing in a basic need of individuals, which is housing. And I wanted to talk about that today because I get different things thrown at me like, well, Alex, who's going to live in these units? Why would someone want to live in them? Why? Well, it's your basic need of survival-wise. And we're in a population growth area, so the who's are coming in here for the people that need to live in these units. So there is a very strong need for these units and people to move into them. What are your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Yeah, no, I think you've really hit the nail on the head here. Mm-hmm. Shelter is one of the most basic needs and kind of rights of humans that's needed. And in Toronto, to go to your question, who's going to be living there? It's not like we have issues, say, like in China, where they're building ghost cities and literally no one is living there. Or other cities where investors might be buying them and not renting them out. Yep. Toronto doesn't have those issues.
No.
People, are going to be living there. There's the basic demand for those units. Immigration, is one of the main drivers of that as well.
Yeah, and let's look at the other items in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we look at food and water. So your counter argument might be that, well, we can also invest in food and water or liquid stocks. Food tastes change. What I consume today is far different from when we went to university and what we were consuming in university. Consumer packaged goods products were through the roof. Now, if you look at those companies, they're struggling. They're looking at shedding different brands and product lines because people have shifted to more of a natural food product, more organic-based product, and now these stock companies have started to decline. I don't have control over human tastes and needs. But what I do know is that people still need a roof over their head. And if I'm buying in the economic and population capital of Canada, I know 10 years down the road when their food tastes have changed and water tastes have changed. What I mean by water, back in the day, Coca-Cola was big. And now you look at the different liquids that people are consuming now. Those tastes will change in 10 years, but they're still going to need the roof over their head. So now what I want to get into is I want to talk to people about the stock market versus the real estate market. And I already brought up university, and I want to bring it back to university. And I want to bring it back to Kyle and mine, our first year university experience. Kyle, do you remember in first year where in our first year business class, they had the stock market challenge, right? And they gave us 100,000 theoretical dollars, and they had a whole back end system, and they said, okay, go invest and have fun with the play money, and you'll be graded on this and everything like that. So every first year business student got 100,000 of play money, and we got to invest in any stocks that we wanted to. Now this would have been in 2000 or 2001.
I think 2000.
Yeah, I think it was 2000, and there's a reason why the date is actually important. So we went to Wilfrid Laurier University. Wilfrid Laurier University is in Waterloo. Waterloo is home to BlackBerry. So in 2000, 2001, there were no iPhones, and BlackBerry was king of the world. That was your smartphone. So I know personally, I invested in a lot of BlackBerry stock. And what actually happened during when we were doing the investing of the stocks, it hit an all-time high, and then it started going down and going down and going down. And guess what? It never came back up to the never, ever came back up to the highs that it hit all the way back in the day in 2000, 2001. Don't know the dates. I'd have to go back and look at the dates. But we bought it at the very, very peak of the market for BlackBerry stock, and started going down, 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 and never recovered. The moral of the story is that in a competitive environment where things are constantly changing technology-wise, automation-wise, different people's different tastes, in a stock market, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And it's not, buying in the stock market isn't bad by any means. I'm just not an expert in it. And when I read the paper this week talking about the short sellers attacking the Canadian banks and everything like that, I remember taking short selling in school, but I don't feel comfortable doing a short sale now. And a lot of people don't even know what a short sale is. It's a very complex environment. I know Kyle's in EFTs in regards to his stock market wise. What do I put my money in? I don't know. But I do know something, that if I buy a piece of real estate, which provides a roof over someone's head, in 10 years, I can't automate that roof. That roof is still going to be needed in 10 years as a basic human need, that will maintain its value. And if real estate prices go down, guess what? I know they will go back up, because I know that there's going to be more people, and there'll be more people that need to live in these properties. So continuing on, any questions on that, Kyle?
Yeah, no, just to add to that, there's natural scarcity to housing and to land as well, because there's no more land being created, right?
No, there's real estate is a long and boring game. There is no more land being created at all. So that means we're limited on our housing wise. Yes, we have the ability to go up, so we can artificially create some more spots, but there are engineering, physical limitations to that as well. And it's not a short-term item. It's a long-term item to change different planning strategies and everything like that. So any change that happens today, you're not going to see an impact into that change for at least 5 to 6 years, because it takes so long for that small change to impact housing supply. These aren't short-term impacts to the market. So anything you do now is safe for a long period in time. Now, the next thing I want to get into is so we talk about these properties and shelter being a basic need, and who's going to live in these properties. Ultimately, we're supporting investment in the properties. That means I need people to rent these properties. Well, guess what? We are becoming a society of renters. It's happening in the U.S. I was talking to people in the U.S. Rents are going through the roof, and as well, it's happening in Canada. So we're seeing, for the first time in decades, a decrease in the home ownership rate of Canadians. So that means less Canadians are buying and more Canadians are renting. It's not a huge drop. We're just talking about 1% or 2%, but it's the first time there's been a drop in over a decade. So what does that mean? That means we are also shifting from a home ownership nation to a rental nation, just very, very slowly, but those are shifting. So what does that mean? That means there's going to be more people renting properties, and that's going to put more pressure on the rental market, and that means we're going to get higher rents, which ultimately make our properties more valuable. Any questions on that, Kyle?
Well, thinking about it, if there's more renters, ultimately there's going to be less buyers. So how is that going to affect pricing in the market then? Are prices going to go down or up, or what's going to be the impact?
So prices aren't going to go down because I have someone that's paying my rent and I'm making a good return on my property. And I actually went and I did some research and I looked at home ownership rates in cities around the world. So I'll just pull it up on my phone right here. Just give me 1 second. So Toronto actually has one of the highest home ownership rates in the world. Toronto home ownership rate is at 66.5%, and that was a stat calculated in 2016. If I look at other markets in the world, I go to the most expensive market in the world, which is Hong Kong. Its home ownership rate is 49.2%, and that's a stat for 2017. So I'm looking at the most expensive market in the world and has a much lower home ownership rate than Toronto, over double digits lower than the Toronto market, but it's the most expensive market in the world. What that means is that eventually the real estate game will become a wealthy individual's game, and wealthy individuals don't have to sell their property. So now you have large land holdings by wealthy individuals, which is going to shut out the regular individuals market, and the wealthy individuals are going to control the home ownership market. Again, these are long time frames. These aren't short time frames, but as the Toronto market gets more expensive, it becomes a wealthier individual's game because the average individual can't afford to get into the market. So what does that mean? It means that even at today's accelerated prices or high prices, there is still the ability for the average person to get into the market, and there are still pockets of Toronto proper which offer affordability and offer some growth opportunities. Downtown Toronto, very, very expensive. That's your blue chip stock. Downtown Toronto is becoming a wealthier person's area where they can play, but there are upcoming pockets in the city of Toronto where you can still get into that offer affordability and offer room for growth. So this kind of fluffy video, I just wanted to talk about that shelter is a basic human need. And when you buy a condo, you're buying a basic human need of an individual that isn't going to be impacted by changing tastes, that isn't going to be impacted by automation. In 10 years, it's still going to be a basic human need and requirement for an individual, and someone's going to want to live in that space. Do you think I covered everything, Kyle? Do you think I made a convincing argument for people why they need real estate?
I'm sold.
Okay, great. Well, from everyone, from alexjwilson.com, Kyle from Remax Wealth Builders Real Estate, if you want to book a consultation, we can actually go into the numbers of this, why it makes sense, but I just want to talk about the theory of why people need real estate and condos, because it's a basic human need. Maslow said it is. Okay, guys, talk soon. Bye-bye.